This is the Fujifilm X-Pro 2, a retro-style mirrorless digital camera, and one of what I believe to be the greatest cameras of all time. Sporting a 24-megapixel APS-C-sized X-Trans 3 sensor, a hybrid optical/electronic rangefinder, a maximum frame rate of 8 photos per second, and beautiful built-in film simulations, this unsuspecting beast is capable of taking some of the most beautiful photos I've ever taken. I bought this camera in the middle of 2021, sick and tired of the seemingly endless post-production of the images off my Canon 5D Mark III. The results were beautiful, but I needed something smaller for everyday use, something which I could carry around more easily, and which quicker translated the images in my head onto a visual medium. My friend Luca had been talking about Fuji cameras for ages and owned a smaller one himself, so I decided to meet with a local seller in a shopping centre car park, gave him $1,200 in cash, and left with the body and a 35mm f1.4 lens. I never expected to fall in love with it so fast. I've used this camera to shoot everything from exotic cars to friends and family, from in the mountains to in Melbourne, indoors for product shots and photos of pets. I even took it all around Europe in every country and condition, from the ancient architecture of Italy to the beaches of Greece, forests of Germany and patisseries of France. And every photo you're seeing is a JPEG straight out of camera. Fujifilm has these film simulations where you can choose a filter based on real film stock, then go into the menus and customize the look and color to your liking. You can even copy these settings or recipes off a website called Fuji X Weekly to emulate film stocks from other brands like Kodak or Ilford. Not having to spend hours in Lightroom fussing over every little painstaking aspect of your photos is amazing for an everyday camera. It means you can concentrate on getting the shot you want and share it with the world quicker. It almost feels like you're sharing a moment, a slice of life, less polished and manufactured. I think the pairing of the 35mm lens really helps with this too. At a full-frame equivalent of roughly 50mm, it gives you those really beautiful blurry backgrounds that just melt away into nothing, allowing you to focus on more intimate and personal details within your images. But it's still wide enough that you can fit in multiple people or a scenic landscape. It focuses fast, has a physical aperture ring on the front, is weather sealed, and comes with this amazing square lens hood that completes the look of the camera. If I could only choose one lens for the rest of my life, this would probably be it. But my favourite thing about this camera is it's just so fun to use. Every time I pick it up, I get inspired to click that old style shutter more than any other camera I've owned. It also feels incredible in the hand, although this additional thumb grip does help to give you a bit of a better hold. The rangefinder is also an amazing mix between optical and digital. Flicking the lever on the front changes it between a traditional piece of glass and a high-tech OLED EVF. I find myself using the screen more often than not for easier framing, but switch it off for street photography. Fitting perfectly into my everyday carry bag means I can take this camera with me everywhere, allowing me to whip it out at a moment's notice and never miss the shot. The weather sealing means I never have to worry about the conditions, and the only control I have to think about is the exposure compensation dial. There's no in-body image stabilization, there's no articulating screen, no insane dual-pixel autofocus, it's not full frame, doesn't take 40 raw photos a second, and doesn't have the greatest low-light ISO performance. But even though these are benefits for other cameras, I think the fact that it lacks all these things makes me love it even more. All too often, I feel like more modern mirrorless cameras end up fighting me and take me out of the experience of shooting the photo. Either the IBIS will try and keep the camera steady while I pan, or the autofocus will choose the wrong subject. Even the fact that it has a slower shutter makes me slow down a little, and be more deliberate with my images and compositions, rather than spraying and praying. I think if a camera can make you feel like this, make you want to pick it up, want to hold it, want to use it, it'll end up making you more creative. Before I owned it using my Canon or Lumix cameras, it always felt like there was a barrier between me and the tool I was using. With the Fujifilm X-Pro 2, it feels effortless. I don't even think about using the camera, it just comes intuitively, instinctively. And if that happens, if a tool feels like an extension of your mind, your creativity is limitless.